Ladies and gentlemen, oh hello indeed, for this is a Fred the Alien Productions podcast.
Hello there. How are we?
Hello there.
Hello there. Oh. Not sure about all that tackle up there.
Cue the music.
I don't know what we're yelling about! We came, we saw, we kicked its ass!
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Kind of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it some style?
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Boring conversation anyway.
Whoa, we're gonna have company! Loud noises!
Hello.
Hello.
I'm a Kendall Richardson.
And I am the man with haircut now, and I feel free and wonderful, but you can see my earpiece now. I'm Michael Lister.
And you're now experiencing a podcast called Fred.
Yes, experiencing it through the mediums of pinch and a punch and the first day of the month, that sort of thing. And I'm wearing green. Is it green? No, that's St. Patty's Day. Anyway,
St. Patty's Day.
cool.
Anyway. Yes, it's a new month here. We're in winter now here in Australia.
Officially.
It's suddenly June. This is strange. But anyway, as you can see, Fulya is currently not here. But do not fret. She will be joining us very soon. So you'll have that to look forward to when she hops on. But we're going to carry on in her stead until then. So Mike, take it away with your weekly watchings, please.
I haven't been watching much. So I say that. Well, I've been watching some what I've been usually watching with the kids, just the ring around of either Amazing Gumball or the regular show, that sort of thing. So that's keeping me entertained while babysitting the kids. Is it really babysitting if it's your own? No, it's not. It's rearing kids. Yeah, but also, excuse me, something new. There's a new doco that came out. It's called Pee-wee Himself, if you've heard about that. Yeah, a 2-part doco on Max, and I watched it, and it was surprisingly delightful. It's a very unique sort of documentary that I've seen. It has interviews of Pee-wee himself, and yeah, it was basically his life up until his tragic end. And it's sort of lethargic as well, because there's certain aspects in the second half of the episode. There's like an hour and a half sort of each episode, where it's sort of does a bit of a turn, and yeah, it's just, and a lot of people got interviewed for it, like definitely after the fact that he passed away, and the fact that it's a weird, it's weird to say it's candid, but it's also making fun of the documentary sort of formulae as well. So it's kind of interesting take it on, because it feels like he knew he was on the way out, because he was battling cancer for probably 6 years before it unfortunately finally got him. And he probably knew while filming, but no one knew, basically. He was just living with it. And and he was sort of in two minds of all throughout, because there was a lot of text up of saying what was really happening behind the scenes of the documentary as well. So it's sort of a weird behind the scenes of the documentary that was made before his passing, but also about himself at the same time. So it's really fascinating, and I didn't know much about Paul and how he had to deal with certain aspects. Like I didn't know, I knew the big scandal of what he did, but there was actually another one that I had no idea about, and yeah. It's very fascinating, like deep dive into like a political history as well, with what people were thinking at the time of, like, surely you're known for this sort of larger than life sort of childhood, like behemoth sort of show, and your personal life that you pretty much kept secret, and how that sort of pretty much gate crashed into the real world, and it's very fascinating. So I do actually recommend it if you've got a weekend. I watched it in like 2 days and sort of fitting, and yeah, I highly recommend it. And yeah, it was quite sad at the end because the inevitable. Having said that, I've been in a weird place at the moment. I've been trying to figure out what to watch, and I'm finding myself going back to watch things that I've already seen. Like, there's a new season of Rick and Morty out, and I haven't started watching. I decided to go back to the start and just watching that up until... because I haven't seen like season 1, 2, 3 in ages, and so yeah, I've been watching that, and it's like I'm really enjoying it. It's sort of in my comfort zone because I know it, and I'm still laughing at the jokes. Yeah, it sort of has a weird history of where it is at this present time. Like, people aren't really raving about Rick and Morty anymore, which is kind of strange because it was like huge, and it was like people like, it's like you need to be really intelligent to get Rick and Morty. It's on a different level, and then you watch and then you rewatch it. It's like, yeah, it's just stupid fun, and people like really, I don't know, they got really latched onto these sort of characters and say, no, there's a hidden meaning. And it's like, no, they're just having fun. It's like all these people that are writing the show really like science fiction, and they like to make fun of it as well. And also, and the trick is not to think about it. So they're trying to do the smart dumb show, which is kind of cool. So, and yeah, season 8's coming out at this present time, and I haven't started watching it because I've been going back to the start. Having said that, there's actually another show that's going to come out in August, and that's the revival continuation of King of the Hill. And I haven't really watched King of the Hill. It was sort of not on my radar, like growing up, or I even had an appetite for it. Like, I knew of it, and I know I only know 2 quotes from, well, 2.5 quotes. The one of "that boy ain't right," and "bull," that's the half one, and the other one's from Bobby Hill. It's like it's like, "Get your hand off my purse! I don't know you." That one, and that's it. That's basically all I know. And I just know it. It's set in Texas, and it's Mike Judge. So I've been watching like episodes of that, like just occasionally watching. It's like, this is really good, and I'm glad I'm watching it as an adult. Otherwise, yeah, as a kid, I'd probably go, I don't. This isn't The Simpsons. Where's Bart and where's Lisa? Yeah. So I'm in a weird situation where I'm not really enjoying TV at the moment. I think it's ever since Endor finishes. It's like, what else is there? I'm at a crossroads of What next? Should I do the Prestige sort of thing and like actually finishing The Sopranos, like finishing Breaking Bad? I don't know. I'm in a weird situation. So, what about you, Kendall? Are you out of that weird situation, in a weird situation, or even just enjoying TV in general?
I mean, yeah, TV is pretty much my main thing at the moment. That being said, I am going to start my weekly watchings with a movie that I watched this week. I watched Trap.
Yeah.
Yes. The most recent M. Night Shyamalan film. Um, about Josh Hartnett playing a serial killer who's taken his daughter to a concert, and they found out that not that he's the killer, but that the killer's going to be there, and the police have set up a trap for him so they can catch him. And yeah, it was interesting. Um, my main issue I think I had with it was maybe don't watch it if you go to as many gigs as I've been to, because I was just picking apart things about the way the concert was run, and just in terms of like you don't like they were leaving during the show to go buy merch or go buy food or whatever, and I'm like, if you're that big a fan of this artist, because like they build it up as the daughter is like obsessed with this female singer, um and who's sort of like a cross between Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande. That's kind of the vibe. But anyway, so
Lady
like
Grande.
Lady Grande. Uh, but like if you're that obsessed with a singer, you're not leaving the show. You're like I didn't make any sense to me, the way that they were doing that, and being like, oh, we're gonna miss the next song. I'm like, yeah, because you fucking left your seat. Like, why did you? I don't know. So it's just some weird illogical choices in terms of just little things. And yeah, and so the singer in the film is portrayed by, I believe it's M. Night's daughter. And she can sing really well. She's got a beautiful voice. She wrote all the songs for the movie, and they come across as legitimate pop songs, like nothing like an earworm that'll get stuck in your head or become a number one song. But like you buy her as this successful female singer. Um, so they sell that part of it pretty well. Um, however, she can't really act. Um, just to be blunt about it, I didn't. I bought some of her performance because not to spoil too much, but she gets a bit more involved with the story in the final act of the film. And yeah, I just didn't like. Some of it was good, and some of it was just like, no, no, you don't have it. Like you're an amazing singer and songwriter, but I don't think you're a triple threat or whatever they want to call it. So that kind of took me out of it as well.
Double threat.
However, double threat. However, I will say, by the same token, on the other hand, whatever that expression is, I'm so tired. Josh Hartnett was very good. I really liked him as kind of having this dual identity situation of like, he keeps his family life and his murdering life completely separate. Like he's two different people almost. And the glimpses you get of the killer coming out are really powerful and menacing. He nailed the insane creepy smirk very well. So yeah, I liked him. He was a good casting choice, I think. I've never seen him play a role like that, and I hope he plays more in that sort of vein, because it was really interesting to see what he could do. But yeah, the story was, yeah. I'm glad they actually did explain why they knew the killer was at the concert but not who he is, because that was my main gripe when we did it for Trailer Park, I remember, and I was like, how the fuck do they know that he's there, but they don't know who he is, and they explain that in the film. So I was like, okay, all right, you've scratched that itch. Yeah. So it was a weird one. I liked it, but I didn't like it. But I don't regret my time watching it, if that makes sense. So yeah. So if you're curious at all, if you like M Night stuff, there's not really any twists per se that he's known for. Like I feel like maybe there's one small twist. There's a small twist at the end, but it's not really like a one of his typical twists. Um, yeah. So it's fine. It's a perfectly enjoyable leave your brain at the door thriller movie. Really. So, but yeah, I could probably have written a better film. I think. I don't know. Just I just
Why don't you?
why don't you? I was just nitpicking the hell out of it. But anyway, I liked it. And what else can I say that I've watched? I mean, yeah, television. Yeah, Handmaid's Tale finished. That was good. It was the episode very much felt like an epilogue. Like the episode I talked about last week that knocked my socks off, that was very much more of a finale than the actual finale, because the finale was just kind of tying up all the loose threads, all the stories the plot lines that they set up, and they were like, this is where this character's ending, and this is where this character's ending, and blah blah blah. They left one thing open ended, but I forgot that they're actually doing a spin off show, which is, I think, continuing the story in the future. And it's based on another book by Margaret Atwood. So I believe they're leaving those answers for that show next, either this year or next year. That's coming out. So so that's fine. I'll probably watch it if it's made by the same people, which I'm assuming at this point it would be. But yeah. But it was good, and I was sad because I'm like, oh, I've been with this show for so long, because like it only had 6 seasons, but it ran for nearly 10 years. So because COVID interrupted it for a while. So yeah, it was kind of sad to say goodbye after all this time, but they did a really good job with it. So I was happy. Yeah, I don't really have much else to discuss, to be honest, apart from what we're going to talk about later. So I'm going to leave it there, and we're going to dive in to the week that was in the nerdy news.
In the nerdy news.
This is the news in nerdy news. The nerds that talk about the nerdy news. That is us who talk about the news that is nerdy. And now the queen of nerdydom, the hostess with mostest, Kendall Richardson. Take it away, Kendall.
Right, nerdy news time, and it's basically just all going to be the Netflix Tudum news that came out today. So the timing of this recording is pretty spot on. So yeah, so we're not going to
Everything
cover
happened in 12 hours.
in 12 hours. We're not going to cover everything that was announced, just as a heads up, because there are a few things, but we just kind of wanted to focus on what we are passionate about here, what we want to talk about that interests us, that's relevant to the podcast as well. So we're going to kick it off with some Stranger Things news. Oh my goodness.
Oh, strange.
This is so exciting. I was really hoping that they were going to give us a release date for the final season, and we have not just one release date, but we have 3, because they have announced that season 5, the last season, Stranger Things, is going to be split into 3 parts. And I don't know if you're not watching right now, Mike seems visibly I don't know, distraught by that announcement. I don't know.
The system doesn't work.
Yeah. It's on the plus side, it's a bit better than how, for example, as a comparison, how they split up Cobra Kai, and that show's final season was split into 3 parts as well, but over a much bigger time stretch. And hopefully it's not going to be as damaging as the split for Invincible season 2 was.
They learned their lessons, though.
They definitely learned their lesson. But yes, Stranger Things season 5. The first part will be dropping on November 26th. Then for Christmas, we get a lovely present with part 2 coming our way. And then to ring in 2026 on New Year's Eve, we will be getting the end, the finale, the final episodes ever of Stranger Things. They put out a little trailer attached to this, which is sort of Joyce talking to Will about, how she remembers everything from the beginning so clearly, like it was yesterday, even though now we're years down the line after that. And then, we get a lot of footage from the previous seasons, all leading up to the end of season 4, where the Upside Down is coming into the real world. And I gotta say, there wasn't much about the new footage that we saw that was unsettling. I mean, there's like a brief shot of like a wall of Upside Down, just that looks giant. That kind of unsettled me a little bit. But what got me the most was Will screaming into camera, telling people to run, and the way that his like whole entire person is just shaking as he screams it. I'm just like, oh my god, what are they running from? What's happening? So yeah,
the end of a career.
The end of a career. Oh boy, we won't talk about that. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, we'll just leave it. We'll just leave that 10-foot pole untouched. But yeah, I'm excited. This is great news. We're getting it. I thought we were gonna have to wait till next year at this point, but even though I think they did say initially it was going to be this year that it would come out. But no, end of the year. So another 5-6 months really to wait, but it's going to be worth it, and we're going to get more trailers in that time that'll show more footage, and the hype will build. So bring it on, bring it the fuck on. Mike, you're a huge fan of this franchise as well. How are you feeling about this? I know you made a comment on the splitting into 3. Do you have any more thoughts on that, or just general excitement you're feeling, maybe?
Fan's a bit of a strong word.
Okay.
I did like it. I did like it. Dare I say, maybe you've overstayed its welcome.
Fair enough.
And it's interesting because, yeah, I did like it at the start, and it's just trying to continue the story and just adding more people. And then what do we do with these people? They don't really have much to do. Yeah. So it's just a morbid curiosity of how it's going to end. And yeah, it's I've been watching it ever since 2020 was it 2016? So almost 10 years. Or was it 2018? I can't remember. It's been such a long time. And seeing these kids grow up, it's like, you were babies. And now you're in your 20s.
Mm.
We're old. We're old, Kendall.
We are so old.
Yeah. Just remember, in 4 years or so, we're going to be the same age as the Golden Girls. Blanche was 41.
Fuck off, really?
Yeah.
The urge I had to slam shut my laptop then.
Thank you for being a friend.
No. No. Anyway, all right. Let's put a pin in that.
Yeah. Strange things. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the split up, but considering that these episodes are probably going to be feature length, no doubt it's probably warranted just to not binge it all at the same time. So probably hedging their bets. Can't wait to finish this chapter and seeing what they do with it, because I think the Duffer Brothers were kicking around the ideas of having spin-off shows and all that. So maybe some of this stuff is going to have backdoor pilots and all that. So We shall see. It will be a big universe that they're going to do because having a brief look at the Tudums and having a look, they don't really have much going for them. Like a lot of stuff are finishing up, like the Stranger Things and the Squid Game, and there's not really much left to have people like stay, which is a bit of a shame. So they probably need to shake up their sort of way to do things, unfortunately. Yeah. So I can't wait. So when's this coming out? Sometime in November, then Christmas, then New Year's.
Yes. That's right.
So what do we think? Is it because apparently there's going to be a bit of a couple of year gap in between the last one and this one, which will be interesting because how can you live with a couple of years of basically Hawkins having a big hellmouth like open up?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. Should have planned ahead a bit more. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like Stranger Things wasn't supposed to be as long as it was. Like you said, maybe it's overstayed its welcome a bit. Because I feel like as much as I love season 4, I feel like you can't really beat the first season of it.
No.
Because
no.
when they played this trailer and you're watching the footage and you're remembering how you felt seeing it all for the first time, like they put in that shot of them on the bikes in 11 making the van flip over, and I'm just like, oh, take me back to that. That was a moment and a half. So.
And not the Akira sort of blobby monster thing in a shopping mall. What happened there? Bobby!
Oh, man. Some interesting choices have been made over the years. Anyway, we've got until the end of the year to think and speculate and hope that it sticks the landing. I'm sure it will in some sense, but
nah.
I have no idea what I want from this show for this ending. I just want to enjoy it, and I want it to be good. And that's about it.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much. I mean, as I previously said, after Endor and all this other stuff that I've been watching is sort of made me disappointed. It's like, TV's dead. I need to stop watching TV.
Dead. Yeah, Andor killed television.
It killed it for me. It was the best thing ever. There's not. I'm not looking for anything better. I'm just looking for something that's on par. But at the moment, it's like it's just big wet farts just everywhere. So I'm curious, but I'm not holding my breath on how they're going to end the Stranger Thing chapters. Yeah.
We'll find out. Okay, next thing in the news. We've got some One Piece Season 2 news. I don't know if it was already confirmed, but it is coming out next year. We don't have an exact date or a time frame or anything, but it will be in 2026. But the cool thing we got was our first look at Tony Chopper. Who I know nothing about because I haven't seen the anime. But they look very cute and very funny, and this was a lovely introduction to their character. With Luffy's off camera and egging Chopper on to be like, come on, you've got this, Chopper, you can do it, we believe in you, sort of thing. Like, it was so sweet and endearing. So I really liked this little introduction. I'm guessing Chopper is a big character in the anime, so I'm hoping that this little preview has satisfied the fans of that. So yeah, I can't wait to meet Chopper in context next season. I don't have a lot to say 'cause, again, I know nothing about. So I'm going to throw to Mike, who has seen the anime, or at least a portion of it, and
Definitely
can
up to when
explain-
Chopper is introduced. So
Okay, so you've seen a little bit of Chopper then?
yes, yeah. I think I've
Okay.
watched a little bit further on of where they're going to finish in the adaptation. So
Okay, all right. Tell me
I
your
think they
thoughts. How is this?
yeah, I think they're going to finish with Chopper, which is kind of interesting that they're going to show off Chopper at the end. So because yeah, watching seeing this little guy, it's like, oh, he looks expensive.
Definitely.
Yeah. Probably a bit of motion capture as well, so that does help. Yeah. Yeah, a member of the Straw Hats. He is the physician of the ship. He's the doctor. He's the doctor because of reasons I won't get into. But his story, his introduction and his story is kind of sweet, humble, and very, very heartwarming. And he just looks cute. As long as they get the cuteness down pat, especially when he's, should I say that? That's a bit of a spoiler. Especially when he's in this form.
Okay.
Yeah. I just live with that.
This isn't even his final form.
No, it's kind of like Contact. This is a form that I choose. Yes, he definitely ate the wild form berries, the fruit. I can't remember what. I think it's called human fruit. He was a deer that ate human fruit. Yeah, and he just got human characteristics, and that will be interesting if they're going to expand upon that. I hope so, and everyone's like really excited. I think One Piece is the Netflix One Piece is definitely going to be, yes, quote unquote, their flagship of Netflix for a bit. So I'm glad they've still got this to go on, and it does give me an incentive to go back to One Piece because I miss it and I really want to see it again. Just in the nothing too heavy. Just to watch it, and it's like, this is great. This is calming me down.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So sometime next year. It's a lot of that with Netflix. It's like, it's coming out soon. Yeah. It's either, it's coming out soon, don't know when. And then they drop a trailer. It's like, it's coming out this month. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, there's like
Or
no
even-
in between, really. It's like we tell you vaguely when this is coming out, or we tell you exactly when it's coming out, like a month beforehand.
Yeah.
Unless you're
hold on,
Stranger Things.
Yeah, I just wanted to double check. Good, we're not going to talk about it. So I'll talk about it now. The Happy Gilmore trailer came out today as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need to watch it.
I didn't think so.
I didn't like that trailer because
Oh no.
I was actually mildly interested in what they were going to do, and then I watched the trailer. It's like, oh, this is what they're doing.
Ooh.
God damn it. Okay. I'll just leave it at that. If you like rehashing old jokes, it's the movie for you.
Isn't this whole movie a rehash? Like I thought. That's the
I
vibe
know.
I got.
I was hoping for an Anchorman. Not this. Doing the same joke, but different. Yeah. They introduced a character that's meant to be like a character that was in the first one, but they did the same joke. I don't like it. Movies and television are bad now. I'm in that era now.
You're in that era now. You really are.
Yeah, I need to make my own stuff now. It's like,
Yeah, do it.
did you watch the new thing? No.
Yeah, I'm making my own stuff.
Yeah, I've even gone off fucking TikTok now. I'm just sick of the doom scrolling. I don't need to be entertained anymore. I don't need podcasts anymore. I just want to do my own thing. That's it.
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No.
What's next?
Okay, we got
What
one
were we talking about?
thing.
Sorry. Yeah.
Chopper.
That's what I'm looking forward to is the One Piece.
Yeah.
It just looks wholesome and fun, and the people behind it, it's like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, but unfortunately, oh god, why am I such a doomer today? But the showrunner quit mid production, so that's not good. Hopefully they find someone. He quit because he just got burnt out because he wanted to do like a really good show and something in the same heart and vein as the manga and the anime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he succeeded, I reckon. But trying to do it again, like trying to get that lightning in a bottle again is like, yeah, I don't blame him for saying, you know what, I've done half of it and I'm done. I can't do this. I need my mental days. I need my mental health to be checked in. So what happens in the next seasons? I don't know. I don't want to look too far ahead. I just want to enjoy. I just want to enjoy it. Yeah, I just want to enjoy it. It needs to be good. Just it needs to be good.
Yeah.
Taco. But
All right.
this next thing is going to make me happy.
Yes, I hope so. Because yeah, Tudum, fitting that we close out our nerdy news with this topic because Tudum did the same thing. Wednesday, season 2 made a big splash at the event. And you know, pretty much the whole cast was there. Even special guest star Lady Gaga, who was previously announced to be in the upcoming season. She came out and performed a couple of her new songs, and I watched a little bit of it. And even Jenna Ortega was in on the performance as well, which was cute. And yeah, my favorite thing about it, just to quickly say, is that I loved hearing the crowd losing their fucking mind. Like Lady Gaga was just on stage doing her thing as she's want to do, and then the crowd is just screaming. Like, oh my god! I was like, that's exciting. So yeah, really cool to see that she was received very well. And I can't wait to see who she's going to play because I didn't say still who she's playing. So that's fine. I don't need to know just yet. However, what they thought we needed to know, and I didn't watch it because I just think it's too much, because I don't like it when they do this. They basically dropped the first 6 minutes of the show, I think, or I think that's what they're calling it. They at least dropped 6 minutes of footage from season 2. And I didn't watch it because I don't like. I'm okay to watch. I'm weird. I'm okay to watch trailers, but I don't want to watch. Don't give me sneak peeky stuff like this. I don't. For some reason, I don't really want to. I'm like, nope, that's too much for me. So I didn't check it out, but it sounds like it was good. And people are hyped for the show. It sounds like they're leaning a bit more into the horror element as well, so that's exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this when it comes out later this year, I believe. Yeah, they're doing it in 2 parts in August and September, that's right. So this is getting split up as well. So, yeah, sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mike.
Damn you,
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, part 1's on August 6th, and then part 2 is on September 3rd. So,
nice.
Yeah. Anyway, Mike, what did you think of the Wednesday footage that was broadcast?
It was good. It definitely has the same feel as the first one, but I think they sort of retooled it to be more along the lines of, well, this is going to be this is the Wednesday show, so let's just see what Wednesday does. So it's just mostly Wednesday in the entire thing. We don't really see any other characters per se, but it's all to do of what she's been doing previously from the last season. And I forgot she was telepathic for a brief second. So like close to the end of the previous season, I was like, yeah, I need to do a rewatch again. I'll probably let my daughter watch it as well. It's like, is it scary? It's like kind of, sort of weird Burton-esque scary. And yeah, I can't. I won't explain too much about it. It's just Wednesday doing Wednesday things, and it definitely has a bit of the horror element in it. It's also a crime procedural, as well as but with with the flair of the Addams Family. So take that as you will. And it was good. It was a good 6 minutes. Probably of the first. I don't think it's the first 6 minutes. I think it's like part of maybe the first episode, not necessarily the first 6 minutes, but it's like yeah, it's hard to explain without spoiling what's actually inside of it. So we do get to see Thing, so that's a fun.
Nice.
Yeah, Thing's sort of like Wednesday's psychic, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Great.
And this comes out later.
Yes.
On a
August-
Wednesday.
On a Wednesday. Very good. Cool. Well, that is the news that we have to talk about. And who could that be but a Fulya Gotamachi?
Knock, knock, knock.
She's here.
Can you hear us? 1 minute. Okay.
Okay. I queued
I'll
too
set
soon.
up I'll set up the trailers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trailer park time. Let's hit it.
Rolling up to the trailer park where we all park all the trailers. Hee-ha.
Okay. It's trailer park time. It's gonna be some fun edits.
Hello.
It's like, hey, there she
Hey.
is. Hello.
Shall we do a countdown?
No, it's okay. I've already started recording, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. And we're just.
I just literally had to say to myself in the recording that I'm cutting myself in for trailer park.
Yeah. Okay. Big edits.
So, so it's a hard cut. Like, nah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
yeah.
nah.
Heard.
Like,
Now.
Okay. Trailer park time. Let's kick things off with something that isn't related to the Netflix event. This is our first trailer for the upcoming Doctor Who spin-off, The War Between the Land and the Sea. So this is what is it? Is it Sea Devils? Is that what they're called? Sea Devils?
Yeah. A sort of
Yeah.
revamped, reimagined Sea Devils. Like they did for the Silurians. Sort of more humanoid than people in masks and rubber suits.
Yeah. Last time we saw the Sea Devils was, I believe, during 13's run. Jodie Whittaker. I'm interesting to mention her. More on that later. But yeah, this was a cool trailer. I liked it a lot. I wasn't really sure if I was interested in watching this when it was announced, because I haven't watched any Doctor Who spin-offs yet. So this might be my first. I don't know. So that's kind of exciting. And, you know, and Kate Stewart's here, so I mean, I've got to do it for Kate. So yeah, and I'm fascinated by, clearly there's this thing going on between the main characters of, you know, this guy, I've forgotten his name already. Need the cast list up here. This leading Sea Devil, who looks really great. Like you were just talking about you know, the way that they look now versus how they used to, and I feel like they've really gone above and beyond with the makeup here, which is really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in action. I think I'll check it out. Yeah, and great to see so many characters from Unit carrying over into this as well. And it looks tense and interesting and yeah, not just clear cut as well. So yeah, I'm curious. I'm very curious. It looks very good. So I think I'll be watching it. Fulia, hello.
Yes. Hello.
What did you make of this trailer? You gonna check it out?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I wasn't even sure what was going on with the title because there was no mention of Doctor Who in it. And then as soon as it came up on the Doctor Who channel, I was like, oh, is this a spin-off? And then the Unit characters popped in and I thought, oh, this is actually kind of interesting. So it's almost like they're gonna go towards like the Torchwood route kind of a thing, but there's more to it than that. And there's like if it's if it's words the if the title says anything, I don't think this is going to be a very long series. I think it's just going to be very limited to maybe one or two seasons potentially.
Well, there's only 5 episodes in the season, it looks like.
Okay. Yeah.
So short run season.
So it's just going to be just a one season?
Mini-series, yeah.
Mini-series, yeah. Kind of had a feeling because considering that for an instant, I didn't realize it was a series. I thought it was going to be like a movie. But then when I saw that it was a series, I was like, oh, okay, I don't think this will last too long. But it'll be a really cool story to tell. So I'm looking forward to sort of diving into a world where the Doctor's not necessarily there to help them, but seeing what Unit can do in this kind of situation and what other characters we're going to be meeting in this. So yeah, I'm actually kind of interested in this.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
Mike, what about you? How does this work for you as the, you know, big Whovian of the podcast? What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's interesting with Doctor Who and their spin-offs. There's only been like a handful, and yeah, Torchwood is one of them. There's also the Sarah Jane Adventures, and there's also Class that was only for one season. That took place in the Coal Hill School, and we go back to watching that from the original series, like the first companions were actually teachers from Coal Hill School, so that's interesting. And yeah, I watched this, and of course I wasn't sure about the redesign because I'm a big fan of like original Doctor Who. Sort of looks really fake, but it's rubber. I like my rubber masks, but it would be interesting because they sort of did the redesigns for the Silurians, and they are sort of cousins to the Sea Devils as well, like sort of similar stories that they were the original inhabitants of of Earth, but one's on land and the other one's in the sea, and primordial ooze, and then monkeys became people, and and that whole kit and caboodle. So, I don't mind the redesign. Looks like it takes a long time in the makeup chair, so I don't envy the person sitting and doing that. But it's only 5 episodes, so we'll see how it goes. And it looks like it's filmed very differently to what we've been seeing with Doctor Who. Like the Doctor Who is very whimsical, and it's bright, and it's colourful, and it's magical, blah. Where this one was sort of like it's sort of like a court procedural. Like it's sort of taking it a little bit too seriously, which is going to be an interesting sort of theme.
Kind of like a cop drama.
Yeah, but with aliens. Well, not really aliens, just creatures
From a different world.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, aliens. People who don't like me. I don't like the other. You know that story. A couple of so we got a couple of unit people back in. You got Kate and the team. Also got a character who is reprising a role that was originally from Torchwood as well, which will be very interesting. I actually haven't seen any of Torchwood, which is kind of weird.
I've only watched up to season 3, and then
Torchwood?
I didn't touch season 4. Yeah, I didn't touch season 4.
Well, you're doing better than me.
I don't remember the character though. It's been a while.
Yeah, I got up to sexy Cyberman lady, and I thought, I'm done. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. Yeah, it's very sexy, that show. I think, and also created by Russell T Davies as well. He just needed somewhere to offload his sexual urges, I'm guessing, but with Doctor Who. After doing Queer as Folk and did he do Queer as Folk?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. So doing those sort of things, and then all of a sudden, Doctor Who, family friendly sort of stuff. It's like I need a bit of an outlet. Oh no, Torchwood, Captain Jack, sexy Captain Jack, sex everywhere, sex. I'm not sure if this is going to have sex in it. I hope not. I don't want a Shape of Water sort of situation.
I was just gonna say Shape of Water. Oh shit.
Speaking of Shape of Water, that would be a good segue. Anyway, put that in the back pocket. I'm interested if it's going to be like five episodes and maybe a story just one and done, and then they can do other stuff and not necessarily with unit, of course. But I like it if they do Doctor Who and expand the universe, and not necessarily with the Doctor, especially with the episode that we just watched. I think we need to. I think we need to settle down, recalibrate, and work out what we're doing, please. And I'll just leave it at that. So this is coming out whenever. There's no
release date.
Yeah.
They haven't said when, so it's probably going to be, I'm guessing, for getting a trailer now, likely before the end of the year.
September, October, maybe?
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
It says on the wiki, the series is expected to air on BBC One and on stream like iPlayer in the United Kingdom and released on Disney Plus internationally in 2025. So it's either now and in December.
Okay.
I don't know if they would put it out that close to a potential Christmas special or New Year's
They need
Day
to start
special.
filming that because there's no word.
Mm.
Maybe this is
Or
a
maybe
replacement
no.
for the Christmas special, maybe.
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 Yeah.
And
I
do
was
this
wondering.
in November because, November 23rd is Doctor Who Day. So
Mm.
maybe November. I'm putting my conspiracy hat on November
Great.
because it's Doctor Who Day.
Doctor Who Day.
2005, so the 62nd
Second.
anniversary of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. Yes, that's how math works.
Indeed, it does.
Yeah, so this comes out sometime this year. So when is this
Anyway.
coming out? Do we still have to do that? Jesus.
Jeez, no, because you just said.
I know.
Anyway, speaking
Shape
of
of Water.
Speaking of the Shape of Water. The next trailer is for a film that I have been waiting for so long, and that is, of course, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Oh my god. Put it in and around all of me now.
Is this what it's like to be God?
This is like crazy. This is giving me like a cross between like Pan's Labyrinth and Crimson Peak, but then Nosferatu at the same time, as well, which is interesting. Just in terms of they're hiding the monster in the trailer. He's covered and he's big and hunching and stuff, and he's wearing furs that just reminded me of Olaf. So I'm just
You must bounce.
getting vibes. Yeah. I'm so happy to see Oscar Isaac here. I'm so happy. He's been on a bit of a break post Moon Knight and like he was very busy for a while and all of that. And now he's back and this is his first big project in a couple of years and and he's in the trailer so much and I'm just like I'm so happy. So happy. He's just great. He's so good. He's such a good actor. And yeah, to see him embody such an iconic character of literature, of sci-fi, of horror is just really exciting. And I kind of want to just see more of everything else because they do kind of just focus on him in this trailer, which is fine because he's the main character. But I want to meet the rest of this cast and like because just the visuals. Like one of my favorite things about Guillermo del Toro movies is the visuals and just like the way costuming is used and the way set design is used and props and everything like that creepy looking casket with just the head like showing
Just the
at the
face,
top.
yeah.
Just the face. That was great. Give me more of that. However they've designed the monster with like you see in a brief shot where he's strapped and he's got this like device on him, like that looks interesting. But yeah, there's just so much here to love, and it just the whole vibe of every single second is just great. So I'm so glad this movie's finally on the way. Like, oh, we're getting closer. It's still a ways away, but it is coming out this year. That's confirmed, and we'll get to that shortly. Fulya. I'm guessing this is probably not going to be for you, but I'm curious. What did you think?
Yeah, it is. It is quite a dark rendition of the Frankenstein story. Honestly, I was trying to pick out I didn't realize it was Oscar Isaac, but the face looked so damn familiar to me. But every time we looked at Oscar in the trailer, it was a different angle. It's always like a side profile. It wasn't really always sort of face on, and it honestly it took me a moment. Like even after the trailer finished, I'm like, who the hell was that?
It's your boy.
Like it was right there in front of me, and I just couldn't see it. And then I had to check the IMDb, and I'm like, oh, now it makes sense.
Now it makes sense.
It's your
Oh,
moon boy.
man.
It's your
It
moon man.
is my moon man.
Your moon man.
My moon man.
I love
Moon man, just fly, moon man. Yeah, I've been watching Rick and Morty. So what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure that I'd be watching this, to be fair. I think, I mean, I have watched the Frankenstein stage productions that had Johnny Lee Miller and Cumberbatch, Benedict Cumberbatch in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an interesting telling of the actual of the story itself. I'm just like this particular. It's a movie, right?
Yes, this is a
It's
movie.
a movie. Okay, I'm just making sure.
It's not a dream.
No, the movie is it just looks really, really dark. I want to watch it, but I'm scared for my mental health. So yeah,
It's fair.
it's aesthetically it looks really cool. The other thing I want to mention is I'm just sort of flicking through the set production photos that are the behind the scenes photos on IMDb, and it's just so weird seeing these people dressed up in period pieces holding their phones and drinking out of cans. It's just like it makes no sense in this period world.
I don't think that would be in the film.
No, it's not gonna be in the film. No. I know that. It just looks so strange just from the photo perspective, you know. Just seeing them in their costumes and stuff, and then, you know, all of a sudden they're because they're waiting for their shot, they're just scrolling through their phones. But it looks honestly, it just looks really, really cool. Just aesthetically, it looks interesting. The cinematography looks really cool as well. So yeah, like who knows? Like maybe I might give it a go, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, Mike. I'm excited to hear what you made of this trailer. What'd you think?
Is this just a rip-off of Poor Things? This is Poor Things. I unpack that one. Yeah, when watching this, it's like yeah, it definitely has. I definitely thought Crimson Peak, especially with the period and also the sort of gothic horror sort of aspect to it, which is great. Yeah, and I do enjoy Gilmore's what do you call it? Like his sort of way of film and his aesthetic,
style.
his style. And he was talking at the dumb thing, and he was saying this is what he's been wanting to do ever since even before he picked up a camera. This is what he wanted to do, which makes sense. And sorry, just noises around me. And yeah, and he said this definitely inspired most of his films as well, like with Crimson Peak and Pan's Labyrinth and even Hellboy at certain aspects. And yeah, you can definitely see that it would be a good fitting for him to do. And it also reminded me, in a strange way, another Frankenstein movie, not the one that you're thinking of, but the 1994 version that had Kenneth Branagh. If you've seen that one,
I haven't actually, but I want to.
Probably watch it after this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Sort of has similarities, but it it definitely is a movie of its time in the 90s. It's like now we can do like the 90s sort of thing, Like it's definitely a lot of speaking of everything now sexy, it's sexy sex and stuff, and the people in it are great. Like you got Kenneth Branagh, of course, who actually directed it and was in it as Victor, and you also got Robert De Niro as the creature, but I think they actually named him in that one, and I like the fact that this one is just like the 94 one. Is more based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the book, and not necessarily the 1930s Universal adaptation, where because Victor doesn't have an Igor, he doesn't have an Igor, he doesn't have he doesn't have that. That's just a creation because the Doctor needed someone to talk to. Otherwise, you have just the Doctor just rambling to himself, which he'll probably do the same thing in this one. So I can't wait. I can't wait for this. And this is going to be on Netflix. So when is this coming to Netflix?
Yes, it'll be on Netflix later this year. We don't have an exact date, but we know that it's coming out in November.
Oh, November. Remember.
Remember. It's out in November. Now that brings us to our final.
Sorry, I also forgot to mention. I like the fact that we don't see the design for the creature just yet. It's going to be a good surprise. Maybe it's just a guy. It's like, oh, we got to see the bolts in the neck and the
just a guy.
and the square head. It's just a guy.
Just a guy.
Just a guy.
Just a guy.
I mean, not to spoil it, but even the Kenneth Branagh one is sort of just a guy. It's Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
with only slight different stuff.
I don't remember hearing about De Niro being all made up to look like a beast. So.
No, but I do like. Sorry, tangent. But I do. Me and my sister sort of. I sort of more go to bat for that film. She doesn't really like it because it's very schlocky and very because it's Kenneth Branagh's sort of ego piece sort of thing. So he puts more of himself in it. But I go to bat because I kind of like the creature in that because over the years that the creature is like out and about. His stitching actually heals, so he's sort of slowly becoming more human within the film, which I actually kind of like because it sort of is that sort of dilemma of which is the creature, which is the creator, man versus God and all those things. So I kind of like that aspect. Anyway, we're done. Next.
No, you're good. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I'm glad you're as excited as I am to watch this. That you all are intrigued as I am to check this out. So speaking of intrigued, that brings us to our final trailer.
No.
For this week. And that is very much more of a teaser trailer for the upcoming Knives Out mystery called Wake Up Dead Man. Yes, we don't really get too much here. We just, get some fleeting shots of the cast in this interesting location that's very different from the last two films. The vibe feels very different. Benoit Blanc looks very different. Daniel Craig's rocking a new hairdo, which I really like. And we've already seen that before in the previous images that they'd released while they were filming this. But it's cool to see him in action and whatnot. But yeah, I kind of like the vibe of this one. Completely opposite to Glass Onion, I think. Maybe this one might be more like Knives Out, the original, potentially. I don't know. But they didn't show too much of the plot and whatnot. But obviously, there's been another murder and another mystery for Benoit to solve. And a great cast, I'm looking forward to seeing Jeremy Renner in this because I haven't seen him in anything since his accident, and not because I don't watch Mayor of Kingstown, which is the TV show he's on, and he's not playing Hawkeye anymore. So, yeah, I don't really engage with his stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in this. Yeah, it's a really good cast, and I can't wait to see this film. I mean, Ryan Johnson has, proven that while people may be divided on his Star Wars, we're definitely not divided on his murder mysteries. Even if he is kind of ripping off Hercule Poirot, but it's fine. It's fine. I love it. I can't wait to watch this. This is going to be good. Fulia, what did you think? I know you're a big fan of this franchise. Are you excited? This footage get you curious for what's to come?
Honestly, I think my brain was so attached to the whole, oh my gosh, they're gonna tell us the release date, that I completely my eyes didn't pay attention to everything that was happening on screen. Like, oh my
That's
god, a date!
fair.
We're getting a date.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair enough.
but from what I remember, seeing Jeremy Renner pop up, it was really cool. And the look for Benoit Blanc is, I don't know that the long hair's doing it for me, to be honest.
Fair
I'm
enough.
not sure how I feel about the hair. But I suppose we'll see when we watch the thing. He looks very, I don't know, just old man from the South kind of
Man
a
from the South.
situation in America.
Considering he is.
Yeah, maybe. He, for whatever reason, kind of reminded me of the Colonel. I don't know.
From KFC.
Yes.
What the hell?
I don't know.
Oh my god,
This is
that's so
what
funny.
I don't know. The brain just decided that to make that connection for whatever reason. But yeah.
Are you sure you're not hungry?
No, I'm good. I'm not hungry. I promise. I ate before I came here. But yeah, no, I'm just I don't need to see anything else. I just need to watch it now. I just give me the film. I need it. I am ready to watch this. We've been waiting since the last one. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I am absolutely ready.
Yep. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. I'm excited for you. Mike, what did you think of this little tease announcement?
I did like it. It definitely has a different feel to the previous two, which I kind of like. It's sort of a new style, new sort of take on a murder mystery and being part, or even just a mystery itself. Like, we don't know if there's going to be an actual murder. Maybe it's just a series of stuff of happening. We don't know. I mean, even you say it's a rip-off of Poirot, but even Poirot is a rip-off of Sherlock Holmes. And even Sherlock Holmes has sort of a different style of, not necessarily a murder, but also, Hound of the Baskervilles, for instance. It's sort of a creature feature, but not really being part of it. It's sort of disproven of what the creature actually was. It was just a big dog. Spoilers for that. So I kind of like the sort of shake up of the different styles of not necessarily being a flat out murder mystery, and I don't mind the hair. I don't mind it. Who knows? Maybe it's a prequel. Maybe it's being a young, because long hair means young. I don't know. But either way, it's a very interesting take, and as long as it's not boring, I'm all for it. Yes, and hopefully this will have a theater release as well. So I wouldn't mind going out to actually watching this in the theater. But otherwise, it's coming on Netflix. But when?
But when? Yes, because
When?
this trailer was our release date announcement, and they made everyone remember Roman numerals because it's coming out
Yes.
on the 12th of the 12th this year, December 12th.
Yes,
Uh,
I was
2012.
looking at that. I was looking at that and I'm like, oh no, not Roman numerals. Now I have to remember.
It's like you have to do a
12?
mystery, solving
I
a
know now.
mystery.
Now I have to translate.
It's like
Uh,
watching Gravity Falls and there's a cipher at the end and you have to cipher a cipher.
cipher. Okay. Trailer Park's done.
It is.
Which means now it's time for a not so quick quickie review.
That one.
Quickie Review.
Yes, quickie review time. Yeah, it's The Last of Us finale, you guys. End of
It's the
season
last of the Last of
2.
Us.
So, for now. This is episode 8 of season 2. Sorry, episode 7. Pardon me. Episode 7, season 2. Convergence is the title of the episode. For reasons we find out at the end. Yeah, this was. I'm sad. and fuck you, cliffhanger. But apparently that's how they did it in the show. In the game as well. Mike's having emotions.
No. I just, as I said last week, people are going to be pissed off.
Yes, a lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
were pissed off.
The
a lot of people
internet
were pissed.
has been in an uproar.
Oh yeah. I'm not so pissed off. I mean, I'm just like, oh my god, cliffhanger. But I'm not like as pissed as some, I think, because I knew that some of the game is played from Abby's perspective, so I wondered when the perspective was going to shift. So the fact that they're doing it at the end of the second season here and setting that up for season 3 is I'm not entirely surprised. But the moment it fucking happened, I was like, oh fuck you, show. Just fuck you right in the face. So I was very emotional watching this. It was a great finale. I still think overall, looking back now, season 1 was better. But I mean, that's, I guess, through no fault of this show, being that they've split up a whole story into smaller parts to make it work in a TV format. So I'm not going to hold that against it necessarily. But yeah, Jesse's dead. Spoilers. I'm sad. That was fucked. And then I saw that that's exactly how it happened in the game, shot for shot, and I was like, god damn. Oh
Yeah.
God damn. That was brutal and so sudden and so shocking, and just like immediately opens the door, bang, gone. He's done. I'm sorry. And we don't even have time to grieve, because then immediately Abby is pointing a gun to Tommy's head, and you know, and then like coming for Ellie and being like, I spared you, I saved your fucking life, and you fucking wasted it.
And you wasted it.
Oh, that was so good. Caitlin Deaver, man, she's great. I love her. She's so good. That was a really good finale scene. But then yeah, just I loved, outside of that tragedy, I loved the conflict between Ellie and Jesse in the episode, and that scene where they're in the building overlooking where they need to go, and Ellie sees where she needs to go, where she thinks Abby is, and then Jesse sees where Tommy is, because Tommy's in trouble and they need to go find him. That whole scene, yeah, sniping. That whole scene was great. And the way that they both put across their points of view. I don't agree necessarily with Jesse's decision to leave Ellie, but I understand why he did, because she's just too far gone at this point. And then just by the end of the episode, she's just broken. She's just completely broken. And yeah, my boyfriend's done with the show.
Wow.
He's decided he's not going to watch anymore. Because they had a chance to redeem her for me, and they made her worse, and I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, okay, that's fine. He hates Ellie. He hates her so much.
Yeah.
And I can understand why, because she's not a perfect character by any stretch. She's not a perfect person. She's letting her grief and her vengeance control her actions, and you understand why. And for my money, the show I think does a really good job of making us understand where all these people are coming from and the choices that they make. So I don't bump up against it like he has, but that's each to their own. Totally fine. But anyway, yeah, and then we get this devastating scene where Ellie comes across, two more of Abby's crew as she's trying to find Abby, and
Mel and Owen.
She's come to a point where I think by this stage where she's gone, I don't want to kill any more people. Like after what happened with Nora, I feel like you kind of see her make a peace in this episode with, okay, I don't think I can do that sort of thing. And when she sees him, she means business. Like, I love how she sets it up and is like, you're going to, like, I was listening to a podcast and they made the point of being like, she pulls a Joel in this scene where she's like, oh, okay, bam, bam. Like, you both going to point to the map, and if either of you are different, then you're going to, it's going to be over for you, basically. So that was a cool callback to season 1. But, yeah. But the way that went down, and oh man,
Collateral damage.
Jesus fucking Christ. I was a mess watching that happen, where she's bleeding out on the floor because she got grazed by the bullet, and she's like, save the baby, you gotta hurry, you gotta cut it out of me. And she's like, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do this, I can't, tell me what to do. And because she's dying, she can't, her thoughts and words become incoherent, and she doesn't understand, Ellie doesn't understand what she's trying to say. And just the way, I wish I'd filmed myself reacting to this, because the way I reacted when Ellie just gently like tucks the shirt back down and then just starts bawling, and I was just like, oh Ellie, fuck me. I was wrecked. This is fucked up. This show is fucked up. But I love it. It's a good kind of torture. Yeah, so I have no idea what's coming now. I don't know if I hinted at a little while ago that I had something else spoiled for me. I definitely told my boyfriend about it, but I had Jesse's death spoiled for me because I was scrolling through the tag on Tumblr, and for some reason didn't pay any mind to, oh yeah, there was a game before this, Kendall. There's going to be spoilers here, Kendall. And so I had that spoiled for me. I didn't know how he died. I just knew he was dying, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I just don't go in the tag anymore, because I like watching people's reactions and reading what people are saying, and yeah, I should, maybe if I want to do that, I should like filter my tags and make sure I don't spoil myself that way. So be smart, not silly. But anyway, overall for me, before I pass Fulya, it was a good finale. It was shocking as hell. I was crying a lot as usual, and the performances were fantastic. And if Bella Ramsey doesn't win an Emmy, I'm gonna, I don't know, sell my soul or some shit. I mean, I've already done that to Disney, so maybe I can't do that.
You can't do it again.
I'll ask Disney if I can sell my soul to Bella Ramsey if she doesn't win an Emmy or a Golden Globe, because fucking hell. Yep. Good stuff. Fulya, how did the finale work for you? Were you as impacted by it as I was, or do you, or indifferent, or well, or what? Tell me your thoughts.
So let's just say my brain wasn't really all there, and I didn't get emotionally hit in any way. But I did still remember watching it, and I will say that I'm not sure how I feel about Bella in the role of Ellie in this season.
Oh.
Yeah. And the fact that we didn't really get to see much of Caitlin for this season either. We only saw her at the beginning and then at the end. So I can't really say anything specifically to that. But yeah, it was just a little weird for me. The Jesse death was definitely a shock. I did not expect anything from it in terms of, you know, him when they walk out, all of a sudden, bang, he's dead. So that was definitely unexpected. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this episode. I feel like this episode didn't really do it for me in the way of a finale should have, to be fair. Granted, I was, like I have mentioned, I have not seen part 2 the game. So I have no idea how it kind of matches up to the game itself, where it matches up and all that sort of thing. And I don't know what's coming. But it was, yeah, it just wasn't, it was a little, maybe a little anticlimactic for me, kind of, in a way. And especially considering the fact that, you know, like the scene where, like, after Jesse and Ellie end up splitting up and Ellie is determined to get to oh my gosh, what was her name again? Bloody hell. Abby. And she ends up getting washed up on the shore near where the Seraphites were kind of camping out. But the problem is, even though they catch her, they decide to let her go because of what's happening, because of what the WLF are doing. Like, they ended up attacking them. So they're like, she's no concern of ours. Let her be. We need to go save our village. So that kind of, I thought there was going to be more stakes to that, but instead there wasn't. It was like, all right, just leave her.
Yeah.
Wait till season 3.
Literally, my partner said the same thing. He was like, "Oh, that's convenient. They just left her."
Yeah.
and then she's back on the boat. And like, oh, so it meant nothing. Back where we started.
Yeah.
Great. Like,
Yeah.
he was not impressed at all. And I was
Yeah.
just like,
the other thing that kind of was a bit I suppose annoying for me is the fact that despite the fact that she almost lost her life to the Seraphites, she still ends up going after Abby after all that.
yeah, she's not to be stopped, I guess.
Like, she is so narrow-minded that she has to go and see Abby. But instead, she ends up coming across her, I don't know if they're her friends or if they're her just people that work for her in that's the group, the Mel and the Owen kind of situation. And then that little gunfire happens there. Like, I knew Owen wasn't going to end up going for the map. He was going to go for a gun or a weapon of some sort. And I knew in that moment that Ellie was going to just react immediately and shoot. But what I didn't expect was that it was going to go and hit Mel as well on the way through.
Yeah.
So that gun's powerful if that's the case. And then just ends up bleeding out because it went, like, it must have hit a major artery as it went sort of through her throat. Even if it did look like a graze, like, it just, yeah.
Yeah.
That particular scene was a little it was a bit shocking and surprising when Ellie decides to not save the baby. But it's one of those things where she's so emotional in that moment that she doesn't know what to do, and she doesn't even think to just go for it anyway, you know, like just in
Yeah.
terms of like, well, let me do what I can to save this baby, but instead she just leaves the baby die in the mother's womb, essentially. Yeah, it was just weird. But what the other thing that I want to also mention from that scene is that because Tommy and Jesse end up coming into that room to save her, essentially, the looks on their faces, especially Jesse. And then I thought to myself, well, Dina's pregnant. Would, like, Jesse is now thinking, would Ellie do anything for Dina in that sense to save her life or to save the baby's life? Like, it must have, like, that sight, that scene for Jesse would have been a bit of a shock to him as well, because he knows he is the father of this baby.
Yeah.
So that kind of was going through my mind as well. You know, it's going back to the whole Dina's pregnant as well. What happens in the future when she's a little bit further into her pregnancy and all that sort of thing, you know? So yeah. Yeah, this episode wasn't totally the greatest for me. So, and just overall for season 2, I think season 1 was definitely a lot better compared to this.
Yeah.
Now that I have time, I might actually go back and watch the playthrough of part 2. And I know it's going to spoil me for the rest of the couple of seasons that are coming up for the show, but at least this way I can make my comparisons and be like, okay, which one's better, part 1 or part 2, kind of a thing. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I appreciate your honesty. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it does seem like a lot of people are a bit divided on how it all went down. So yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Mike.
Hey.
Hey. How did this go over for you? What side of the fence do you fall?
Yeah, I'm in a weird predicament, and I wasn't looking forward to this episode because I sort of knew where it was going to end, and therefore I knew what beats that they were going to put in. I think this episode, because that we know what happens at the end of the episode, that we go back to day 1, Seattle, but this time with Abby. I think this episode will be part of the what happens on the other side, and so we'll probably figure out, like, with context clues and it will probably change people's perspectives. I don't know. It depends how they're going to structure next season. So, after watching this episode, I was trying to rack my brains. It's like, how come the emotional beats aren't hitting me as what has happened when I played the game? It's like, oh, and I was talking about when Joel's death. It's like I was sort of riding the motions, and I was actually being analytical of how they actually showed and performed it. And I think I worked it out. Last of Us season 1 and the game is a well-contained story, and not necessarily meant to be like part of this overarching like story, where it starts with Joel, and it ends up with Joel, and then the overarching trying to save this kid to essentially be used for the greater good, and then the moral conundrum of should we do this is sort of out of the wayside, and that's how people come to the sort of, was Joel right or was Joel wrong? Because you have to do something that you may not necessarily want to do, but some people do want to do because they want to protect Ellie. I think The Last of Us Part 2, the game, isn't really a narrative-driven game. It's more to do with your experience and your inertia within the game. And it's very traumatic. I mean, I definitely was traumatized playing the game. And it was definitely different aspects of this, of the game that definitely affected me. Like, I was affected when Joel died, and I was affected of what happened to Mel. And what happened to Mel made me put down the game for a week. And it was very different. It was very different in the game, where you are on this quest, and you are forced to do this quest. So you're thinking, okay, I need to do this because, retribution and all this and justice and all that. But then you start doing like real fucked up shit with Ellie, and she's determined. She's getting arrows into her. She's pulling them out, and we get to see that with Dana. But with the TV show, you can't really do that like most times because by the end, Ellie is like dirty and just like traumatized and going through the motions, and you don't really see that with this show. And they're sort of doing something different with Ellie, which I don't mind because it's a different interpretation, and I don't mind that, because if you're doing beat for beat what the game does, then play the fucking game and not necessarily watch it. Okay. And like, I can say that and I can understand why people don't like Ellie in this show. Is like, are you meant to like someone who actually does this stuff? Because it's different when you have to do that in the video game, and you can choose not to do that, and you don't have that burden when you're watching a TV show. So that's why I was very interested in how they sort of adapt it. And game, the wolves do have dogs, and depending if you want to go all guns blazing or you can do stealthily, and you do have probably the only decision that you have is if you want to or do not want to harm dogs, because they're guard dogs, and if they sniff you out, then they attack you, and then you have to attack back. So that's the conundrum. Spoiler for the game: before you meet up with Mel and Owen, they have a dog called Alice, and we get to meet Alice in season 3. But they don't really set it up, so I can talk about it now. But Alice does come at you with no prompt or anything. So come at you, and you have to kill Alice. So yeah, I can understand that they don't want to put that in the in the show, because then yes, definitely people will turn off Ellie like right away, because you know, dog killing. And so after going through that, it's like, and you're traumatic from that, you meet Owen and Mel, and it's very different up to a point where Owen goes for the gun, you shoot Owen in the stomach, and not in the neck, which is an outright kill. So shoot him in the stomach, and then Mel charges after you, and so you're fighting with her with the knife, and she is trying to stab you with the knife, and then you have to turn around and then you stab her in the neck, and then the big reveal that she's pregnant. Well, Owen tells Ellie she's pregnant with his last breath, and then the whole traumatic thing. So you are actually you're more responsible with killing like Mel than what they have in the TV show, but they added the bit where Mel wants you to save the baby. You don't have that option or even thing, and that's what. And I was trying to work out, why am I not getting affected by this? Because that is more traumatic to actually watch a mother's like dying wish. And I've worked out that you're not playing of us too. You're experiencing it, and you're going through a traumatic thing. It's trauma, the game. And I think what's really sort of bugging me, and it's my fault, no one else's, but it's my fault, I'm annoyed that people, in a weird way, people not having the same traumatic stress that I had, like going through it, in a weird way. It's like, and I don't know, I'm trying to find validation. It's like, this is what I went through and I want other people to go through, but that's just a fucked up psycho thing to think of. And yeah, and I mean, this weird conundrum is like, do I continue watching knowing what's going to happen, and is this show sort of healthy for me because it's bringing up shit? I don't know. It's a weird show, and it's not for everyone. And I'm sorry, Fulya, for telling you to watch it. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I knew, I knew Tommy, and I didn't appreciate them, basically him saying is like, I can't die. It's like, I got a kid now, I can't die. It's like, fuck you, TV show. I know what you're doing. Fuck you with your emotional bullshit. For people who know what's going to happen to Tommy. To Jesse, sorry. Yeah. But we get to experience it all over again, but through Abby's eyes. And it gets worse from here.
Oh, no.
Great.
Lovely.
I can't wait to see it in 2 years.
Yeah, 3 if we're lucky.
It's all right. We've got time to watch the playthrough. At least that way we'll...
Yeah,
our expectations will hopefully be a little bit...
I'm wondering if I should, maybe finish watching the playthrough I was watching up until Joel died. Just to get everything.
Up until Abby?
Spoilers. Up until Abby, maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got things to think about.
But still, I was really impressed with the last shot of the Wolves base in the stadium. I was like, "Ooh, that looks pretty."
Actually, looks
and
really
then
cool.
Seattle, and then Seattle, and it's like, do it, day one. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah,
I thought, yeah, but I don't wanna. Mind you, I can't wait for a certain bit that Abby does, because it's sort of my favorite bit, but it was so fucking hard to do. It was sort of enjoyable, so I can't wait for that. It involves the hospital. So
okay.
See you in 2 years for that.
See you in 2 years, yes. All right. I think that wraps up our Last of Us chat. Another season done, and traumatized.
Yeah, traumatized this TV show. Fun.
It's so great. All right, it's time for the wibbly, the wobbly, the timey, and the wimey. It's time for
Culture.
it's popcorn culture time. We are talking who, Doctor
An
Who.
end of an era already.
I have rants prepared. I cannot believe in the year of our Lord 2025, I am more excited to talk about Doctor Who than I was The Last of Us. And excited is probably the wrong word, but enthusiastic. Anyway, so Doctor Who, ladies and gentlemen, ended its second season of the new, however you want to call it. This
Disney
week with the
Who.
Disney Who with the episode The Reality War, the second part from our two-parter finale that kicked off last week, and yeah, my initial thoughts. I don't like it.
Oh no.
Okay, and when I say I don't like it, I should probably say I don't like the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the episode overall as a finale. I thought, I mean, it wasn't perfect. I think it, like the stuff with Sutek last season might have been a little better. Just for the way they tied it in with Ruby's story, I liked that more. But this, in terms of just the way they brought back Anita and the Time Hotel, mentioning Joy again, and the way Unit kicked back into high gear and came in guns blazing with their building, and and everything. It just felt like a great, action-packed finale in that sense. But just certain decisions were made and things were paid off in certain ways, and I'm not going to say too much here at the top about it because I want to discuss it with you guys. And then yeah, the ending happened, and and uh, and that's it from
Yeah.
from Shooty. That's a wrap on Shooty Gatwa, and I am not happy, Jan, at all with that. I know it's not unheard of for a Doctor to have a short run. Obviously, Christopher Eccleston only had one season back in the day, but I thought we were going to have Shooty for at least 1 or 2 more years. And I'm really sad. So, but we'll talk about it more when we get to that. And then just whatever the fuck they're setting up.
Yeah.
With Billy Piper. Why are we doing this?
Companions now.
I don't understand what's happening. And it doesn't seem that anybody likes it at all. So I'm excited to find out your opinions, guys, on how this all played out. And also, yeah, Belinda being boxed as a mother and being retconned as a mum, taken away all her independence as a woman. Anyway, it's fine. We're okay. Nothing wrong with mothers. Nothing against mothers, but they just did this on Andor, and now we're doing it again.
Yeah. And they also used a pregnant lady as a doorstop.
Yeah. Anyway, rants. Rants will happen. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but I hated it. And I'm really sad. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment. Fulya, how did the finale go for you? Did you enjoy it a bit more than me? Are you just as shocked with the surprising regeneration happening?
Regeneration definitely shocked me. I was not expecting Billy Piper to be the face of the new.
I don't think anyone had that.
That was not on my
Nobody-
bingo card.
Nobody had that on their bingo card. No fucking
No.
way did anyone
No.
have that on their bingo card.
No.
Get fucked.
They like no one like how did this not get leaked anywhere?
Yeah, considering Mike, I think,
insane.
didn't you mention that there were rumors of David Tennant coming back again? Or am I making that up?
I sort of the leaks were real, the ones that I knew of.
Okay.
Like there was a leak for Jodie, and
Oh,
there
I
was
didn't,
also a
didn't
leak.
see that.
Yeah, instead of David, it was going to be Jodie.
Okay.
But there was also a leak for Billy as well, and people were going, "No, that's just stupid."
So it was so unbelievable. They really thought it was a rumor.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because it is stupid. I
I don't,
sorry.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I guess we'll find out when the
We'll
new
find
season
out.
starts.
I
Way
hope
back
it- I
when
hope
you
it-
saw my reaction when David Tennant came back, and I did an eye roll.
Yeah, we're there with you now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll get Fulya, take us through
Anyway,
your emotions, please.
Just my overall thoughts for the whole episode. I feel like there were parts of this episode that they could have left out. It did drag on a bit too long
yeah.
for my liking.
Yeah.
Especially when you mentioned, Kendall, that it was going to be 68 minutes. I was like, why that long? Like, why couldn't it be 60 minutes? Like, I feel like they could have shaved off a little bit here and there.
I think
for
so.
sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things that happened were mostly just talk. It was talk. It was flashbacks. Until it got to the point where they actually had to start doing something. And then it was, all right, we started that whole part of the story. Was, interesting to say the least. It's like, hey, we get to see Anita again. And the doctor had no clue that she was working at the Time Hotel for a start. So that was a nice surprise for him, I guess. But yeah, it was I don't know, mixed feelings about this episode. It's just like, it was good, but it was long. It had some fun moments and emotional moments, but then it had the whole, they were just harping on about Poppy so much that it didn't click for me that it could actually be really Belinda's daughter that they were actually talking about. But it just never really, it never hit me in that respect. And then especially when Belinda was explaining the whole, this is why I kept saying I need to be home by this date at this time and blah blah blah, and I'm like, she really, like, I do remember her mentioning them, those dates from each episode. It's like, I need to be back by this date, by the 24th. I don't remember her saying the time though. I don't remember her saying 7:30 a.m. But I just remember the date.
Well, to be clear, and Mike, feel free to step in if I'm wrong, but I mentioned it before, they did retcon this in, correct? This wasn't something, because there was never any conversation about Poppy between the Doctor and Belinda. I don't remember her ever saying 7:30 was the time, and if she did say it, I don't think it had any meaning other than that we knew she had to get back because she had to go to work, and like she was going on about that. So I think they have retconned Poppy into it by the Doctor changing the timeline that one degree, right?
This was originally the timeline, in a way, in order to have both going on at the same time.
Yeah. It's very complex. Again,
I don't know. There was just a lot sort of going on especially considering that even though they tried to pack it in to this one episode, it still ended up being longer than usual as well. So compared to the usual, what was it, like 45, 50-minute episodes that we normally been getting, all of a sudden 68 minutes is just like, whoa, information overload. And then the whole thing with the Rani just ended up being very short and done with pretty quickly. But yeah, we'll get into it later, I suppose.
Oh, we will.
Yeah. I feel like this is where you're gonna be getting a little enthusiastic, quote unquote.
Yeah, I have thoughts. Yes, and so do we all. Speaking of thoughts, Mike definitely has some, and I'm most interested to hear them. So, overall, how did this finale go for you? Did it work in any sense, or was it just a failure, or was it a bit of both? How are you feeling?
It was like a Russell T Davies finale. Landed.
So this is how his episodes usually land.
Yeah. Weird exposition. Very Vox Machina scenarios, like get
Gotta
out
tie
jail free
everything off
cards.
with a bow.
Yeah. So done. We're done. Wasn't that a great show? Yeah, I was worried, and my worry was justified. I was going through it. It was like, okay, we're doing this. Can we just have like a good finale that ties up everything? But apparently, it was tying up the entire Shooty Gutwas era of Doctor Who, which is a shame because he did say that one day he wanted to face the Daleks, and that hasn't happened. Daleks do turn up in this, but as stock footage.
Yeah.
And they specified that, oh no, there was a Dalek in it. They filmed a Dalek in the foreground to tie it in when when going through the doors. It's like, oh, there you go, Day of the Daleks. That episode. Yeah, it didn't really work for me. Bringing back classic characters is always fun, but they didn't really have much to go on. I mean, the Irani narrative dump was charming because I enjoyed the fact that Mel actually had an episode with Irani, and that was a bit of fun. It's like, ooh, I get that because I saw that episode. Yeah, but it was mostly for like classic Whovians that actually watched that, and not necessarily for newcomers or anything like that. Which I don't mind. You know, keep it to yourself. It's like, oh, this is for me. It's like, no, I want, because Doctor Who is now on one of the biggest streaming platforms in the world. Surely it should be more
Accessible
for newies, newie Whoies.
Newy Whoies.
Newy Whoies. We are the Newy Whoies. And here. Anyway. Yeah, and I didn't mind the sort of redesign for not Wrestling, for Omega, or Omega, as Shooty Gutwas Doctor did say. Which
So he doesn't actually look like that?
technically it looks like nothing.
Oh, okay. Not a skeleton, giant titan skeleton.
Here's the thing. In each episode, which is each story, I should say, not episode, each story, he appears differently. So I kind of like the fact that they changed it again, and they turned him into a Titan, which you know, it's kind of fitting in a way because he was a Time Lord. I mean, they sort of retconned his backstory. It was an experiment that went wrong, and he actually ended up in a dark matter universe, and he's been trying to get out. But he's been in there for so long that he doesn't have a physical form anymore, and he was just a cloak and a helmet, and that was it for the first story. And then in the second one, he was trying to get out, so he needed a physical body, so he sort of cloned the Doctor's body, and for a while there was like 2 Peter Davisons on the same screen. It's like, that's kind of cool, but he did it quickly, so it was slowly breaking down while he was in the real world in Amsterdam for some strange reason. They actually went out in the 80s to Amsterdam and actually filmed a couple of things where Peter Davison was in like this weird suit and he had like oatmeal attached to his face, just walking around. Yeah, Doctor Who was weird and cool. Not like this. It's not your granddaddy's where everything. I don't get it. Why am I watching Doctor Who in 4K? It's weird. It's not for me. But in this one, I kind of like that aspect. I just didn't like it being resolved that quickly. I didn't like that because it was too simple, too easy, and I wanted more. I wanted the Doctor to have more of a conversation with Omega and that sort of thing. I didn't know why. I mean, cool visual, but I didn't want the Irani being taken out that easy as well, just being eaten. Yeah. And what can I say at the end? I mean, there was rumours, and those rumours were probably now leaks now that this was going to be the end of Shooty. But one of the ideas was it was just going to be a regeneration and then cut the black, and we didn't know who he changed into. Yeah, and that was the other one. And I will say, just to preface this for the future conversation, a lot of people are speculating that it wasn't meant to be a regenerational episode. It was more to do with Shooty saying, you know what, we don't know if Doctor Who's going to get picked up, and I'm getting offered stuff because there's other things that I would like to do because I'm young and I'm all for him to keep on working. And he said, you know what, I'm sort of done. It's probably in mid production. It's like, you know what, I probably need to finish up. So they probably need to like ride around, and that way, and that's probably the reason why people were thinking this, because it's definitely, you can definitely tell where it stopped the actual story with the reality war, and then they tacked on a building up to a regenerational thing. Because I was actually thinking, and no one's really picked this up, so this is my thing, this is my theory, because Ruby, because in the last scene where they go to Unit HQ and everything is sort of going back to where it was, I was thinking, why does Ruby's hair look weird than previous scenes? And then I just quickly looked back while we were talking. Yeah, it's a wig. So this was a reshoot. So it wasn't meant to be like a regenerational story. And then it probably explains why they could get they got Jodie Whittaker back. Because it's always fun to have like the Doctor like meeting someone to go through like a regenerational thing. So sort of slapdash, but Doctor Who's sort of known for that. I mean, Christopher Eccleston wanted to leave after the first week of filming because it was the filming for the first season was absolutely hell, and he thought, well, if this is what it's going to be, I don't want to do it. It's like, hey, Russell, just write me out at the end, please. I don't, I don't want to do this, because Christopher Eccleston was like sort of well known at this point after doing Elizabeth and doing stuff, and then it's like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can crack Hollywood, you know, and then he did Dark World, and then nothing came of it. I mean, Matt Smith did that Terminator film, and that didn't lead to anything. And yeah, so I think it was all to do with behind the scenes, but we won't officially know until like a couple of years down the track of what really happened. But this is sort of my feeling that it wasn't meant to be a regenerational story, and that's why it was themingly sort of weird, and that sort of took on the weird take of, oh yeah, Belinda was always a kid, always a mother with a kid, and just trying to write yourself out of a hole sort of thing. So yeah, it's a weird film. It's a weird episode, and it didn't really. I don't know. I probably need a couple of days to think on it, because I did watch it at 5 o'clock in the morning, like right before I needed to go to work. So maybe my sleepy mind sort of went, oh yeah, this is a thing, cool. Billy Piper. The fuck? I also have a theory of Billy as well. Well, at the end, anyway.
Okay, we'll get.
All in all, the series was a bit weird. It was great at the start, and then it just slowly went, we need to finish. Ah, we're done. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think this 8-episode formula works for Doctor Who, in my opinion. But maybe they just need to adhere to the framework they've got better. Anyway. Yeah, so let's just talk about just a couple of main points. We've kind of touched on a lot of stuff already. Starting with the Rani. I too will express some mild disappointment over the way the storyline with the Rani and Omega wrapped up.
Omega, yeah.
Yes. I said both ways, damn it.
But one way is the right way, yeah.
No one. Oh my god. Yeah. I know we talked about it last week that they really looked like they were setting up Mrs. Flood betraying the Rani, and they kind of sort of did that a bit here in this episode, where there's like, you know, one scene where, you know, they've teleported into unit and they're expositing monologues everywhere, and then Mrs. Flood rocks up and then she tries to speak, and then the Rani just kind of cuts her off and, you know, sends her back, sort of thing, but they don't do anything with it. So I mean, look, it could have been a red herring, or B, they, you know, maybe they just clearly weren't interested in doing that, and maybe it would have been, I don't know if it would have been better or worse if they'd done that, or it very much inconsequential, because yeah, it really, for me, and I'm not entirely skipping to the end here, but I feel like the way this episode ends has completely overshadowed everything they were doing beforehand, in my opinion. And that's also shit. I think that's also really bad. I feel like if you're telling this story, you've been teasing Mrs. Flood throughout this whole season. She's become the new Susan Twist, sort of, who, by the way, we get to see in this episode, which was fun. And then, you know, and then she's revealed to be the Rani. She's a time lady. And then they, you know, kind of jam-pack the last 2 episodes with this Rani storyline that just doesn't really work, I think. And to have them end the way that they did, like, I kind of liked it a little bit in the sense of, when the doctor's on the ship and she's asking him like, "Don't you want to see him? Don't you want to meet him? He created us, like he's our creator, like he gave us our abilities and etc. or whatever." Uh, and the doctor says yes, and I loved that. I loved that the doctor said yes. It makes sense based on his character, who he is. He's curious by nature. Um, and even if it meant bad things may come of it, he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I want to meet Omega." Uh, so yeah, so
Third
that was
time's a
kind of
charm.
interesting. Third time's, yeah. I want that to, yeah, because that was the other thing I liked too, was how Mel, like you said it already, Mike. Mel was involved in one of the previous episodes with the Rani in Classic Who. So I really like that in that sense. Mel had a bit more to do in terms of, like, just being in, not exactly being involved in the story, but like it was a nice little kind of Easter egg for Classic Who fans to go, "Oh, look, they're meeting again." And I just loved how pissed Mel was, and she just like told her to shove it. Basically, I loved how fired up she got. I thought that was great.
That
But
was a
yeah,
fun
and
episode
yeah.
because Arani actually pretended to be Mel.
Oh, no wonder she's pissed.
Because the Doctor was going through a regeneration, and he wasn't quite
Oh.
all there. So
Oh wow, okay, interesting.
it's a weird,
Interesting.
fun episode.
Yeah, might have to watch it somehow. Yeah. So
Watch
yeah,
party.
but anyway, yeah, watch party. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, then we get the Doctor and the Rani both welcoming in Omega, who comes in, and yeah, it reminded me of sort of the fight between the gods in Moon Knight at the end, like these giant, creepy, sort of decayed skeletal forms just battling it out. Except Omega was way creepier. In my opinion, I'm not a fan of skeletons on the best of days, and then just this guy's creepy face was just not doing it for me in terms of just I'm unsettled. So it did its job, but
Hey,
also
Kendall.
I was like, this is a choice. Yeah, I know. I have a skeleton inside me. Shut up.
And it's trying to get out.
It's trying to get out. Yeah, I know. That's what these names are, right? Humans. Yeah, and then
Who would
yeah,
be
and
one?
then and then and then yeah, it kind of ends before it can really begin, and the Rani gets eaten by the thing that she tried to bring out, and like that's kind of a trope that's done a lot in sci-fi, of like, the villain gets turned on by the thing, by its own plan, sort of thing. So that was interesting they did that, and I felt that was a little bit of a waste as well. And then I kind of, by the same token, loved Mrs. Flood's response of like, "Yeah, I'm out of here, bye. See you." So Mrs. Flood might still be a thing that she could pop up again. Who knows what they'll do if this gets greenlit for a third season. But yeah, just it all felt quite anticlimactic to me. Just really quickly wrapped up, some last minute monologues, and then the beast comes out. And then the Doctor uses the Vindicator to send it back to hell, basically. And the world doesn't crack open. Like, wasn't that the whole point? They were like, we're going to crack open the world to get Omega out of its prison. And they don't really do that, because then they go into the explaining about how, like, the day resets every time because they need things to get thinner or something, whatever the Doctor says, or someone, I can't remember how they explained it. They basically just need it to get thinner and thinner to the point where it will just rupture.
Crack. Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't really do that, I don't think. So, I don't know. But it was cool to see giant skeletons and Unit fighting each other. That was fun. I'm seeing everyone go at Unit be badass. I love Unit. It's great. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on the Rani. Anticlimactic, a little wasteful, and overshadowed by the ending of the episode. Fulya, what did you think of the the way the Rani and Omega story concluded.
Yeah, look, honestly, it's yeah, you're right. It was very anticlimactic. I was expecting a lot more from it, to be honest. And especially whenever villains go off on their little monologue tangents and oh, this is gonna be the best day of their life, and we're gonna rule the world, we're gonna recreate Gallifrey, and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, cool, but why is this not happening the way that you said it would happen? You know? Um, Instead of the world cracking, it just came out of a bloody vault. It's like the Chamber of Secrets. Just the freaking the the door opens, thing crawls out, giant skeleton titan, and then there it is. Bit weird that's how it ended up coming through from its tomb, essentially. Um, and then the whole idea that the doctor just was thinking about, oh, I am the lonely doctor just standing in this room with no weapon, or is there? And then bumps his head on the vindicator and be like, let me just grab this, shoot the laser, apparently billions of supernova power, and it kind of felt like in the episode of the Looney Tunes where I don't know if like you guys remember the one where Daffy and Bugs Bunny ended up getting captured by this sultan who is played by Yosemite Sam, and they have to tell stories to his kid. And the story they end up telling is they're going through this desert, and Bugs and Daffy come across the lamp, and the lamp is they like their rubber genie pops out, and then all of a sudden Daffy claims that it's his. It's his, and he's just like, "You're mine, go, bound down." That's kind of how it felt in this episode of Doctor Who.
I do like that episode.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, to be honest. And yeah, like that's immediately what came to my mind. The fact that the doctor's doing the same thing to Omega, and instead it's a laser shooting it, it's sort of forcing it back into its tomb. It just felt too simple. Like the fact that that is the pressure, like of that beam was enough to push that giant thing back into its hole. um so it was kind of like, okay, cool, yep, that happened. And then the like and especially the way that the Rani ended up dying, and it just all of a sudden it just the creature just grabs her and just goes down the gullet, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's one half of the Rani gone. What about Mrs. Flood? She's like, nope, I'm grabbing this bracelet and I'm out of here. Boom. How convenient.
Slayer.
Yeah, pretty much. Dips out. Yeah, like it was just the weirdest way of trying to tie up loose ends, and now we've got a Mrs. Flood out there somewhere doing whatever it is that she's doing. So I don't know. It's just a really weird, the way they decided to go about ending that part of the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Mike, do you have any additional thoughts on the Rani and that conclusion?
Well, having said all that, I have said before that none of the Irani stories have sort of been good and just weird at best. Like she's pretty much sets herself up for failure like each time, and just all of a sudden, oh, something different. oh, I'm thwarted. Because, being Omega, he thought he was going to be like Time Lord size, like human size. It's like coming out. It's like, no, he's giant. It's like, oh, what did I do? Oh, dear. Hubris. Oh, dear. Was it Jonah and the whale? No one's getting past that. So, yeah, and Mrs. Flood's gone. So, will there be more Mrs. Flood? I don't even know if there's going to be more Doctor Who.
I also don't like the fact that, she also had to explain herself and how dismissive she was of Belinda being like, and Ruby especially, how she was like, oh, that blue box. Gee, the way that she was trying to fake it and trying to follow them and like sort of spy on them and stuff. And it like that also felt a bit weird, but for us as viewers, we were like, who is she? Why does she keep popping up in every episode, right? And then we get to this point and she's just like sort of kind of dismisses it all.
Yeah. With previous episodes of Arani, she does, as I said, she pretended to be Mel, so she does have a tendency to disguise herself as different things. I mean, she did that in her first outing, and continue on. So maybe that is a continuation with Mrs. Flood and how she was Mrs. Flood for how many years. And then all of a sudden, oh, I know that blue box. But she doesn't really twig until it disappears. It's like, oh, you're the Doctor. Mm-hmm. I thought you died in the Time War. What? But then she does explain that she escaped Gallifrey before the Master destroyed it. So... yeah, weird. So, yeah.
It's all very
I'm
weird.
sure there's going to be a book to explain it.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Speaking of weird, shall we talk about Poppy? And whatever the hell they were doing that was hurting my brain and trying to get me to understand. I don't know. So, okay, so the Doctor. So when we left last week, the Doctor said, "Poppy's my daughter," and he was proclaiming it like it was a fact, like it was true. And we were all like, "But how? It's not possible. We're in this wish world, I guess." But like, I don't know, understand. And so the episode kind of, I think, explains it okay enough, but it took a lot of hammering home, I think, for us to realize how Poppy could actually be the Doctor's daughter. And it was fine enough for me. Again, I kind of just feel like the whole Poppy thing was building up to the regeneration. Because I was wondering if we were going to get anything with Susan again. And we didn't. Which is fine.
No, it's not.
But I just... no, it's not fine.
No, it's not fine. You do not jingle those keys and not give me dessert.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I definitely misspoke there. It's not fine.
For a character that we haven't seen in like 40 years, and then she's just there just cause. No.
Yeah. It's not great.
Sorry, I'm really pissed off with that.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting them to do with the Susan of it all, but yeah, it is weird that she didn't come back this episode. But then Poppy's here and no one really is addressing the fact that she's Captain Poppy, the whole space babies thing. I mean, they kind of mention like when the Doctor's like. When during that time where the wishes have ended and he thinks that he doesn't have a daughter, and Ruby's trying to be like, no, you have a daughter. You and the daughter and Belinda went into this zero room that Susan Twist built so you could save her, and now she's gone. And then the doctor's like, oh, you're just confusing your memory with the space baby thing and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, there's a little bit of acknowledgement, I guess. But yeah, and then it just leading into, like, I kind of, well, I will say I kind of liked the scene with how Poppy disappeared, with Belinda and the doctor just playing with her little vest over and over again, folding it and passing it back and forth until it was so thin it didn't exist anymore, which made me think of the world resetting and to the point where it could be thin enough to break for Omega to get out. That's what was supposed to happen. And here we have it happening here, and then Poppy just disappears. And then Ruby, for some reason, is the only person that knows anything that's going on, which is another question mark above her head, in my opinion. But I don't know if we'll ever get that explained. Why
I was having a
Ruby
look
just
around.
knows things.
Yeah, for that, and I think the explanation is the 75-yard episode that she actually lived a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they touched on that last week, didn't they?
Yeah.
They
And how
flashed back to it.
she knows things through the back of her mind and all that stuff. It's like, okay, but
Yeah.
Hmm?
I guess.
What?
What?
Heh.
Heh. But yeah, for it to go from the doctor trying to do everything to save Poppy to Poppy then not existing to then Ruby having to try desperately to convince everyone at unit, including the doctor and Belinda. And I hated that line where Belinda was like, "That's offensive, you calling me a mum when I don't have a kid." I'm sorry. I don't get why that's offensive. That was a really weird line for her to say. I didn't like that at all. But then yeah, and then for them to Ruby finally convinces them all that Poppy's real and the doctor has a daughter and Belinda has a daughter, and they have to fix things. And that's when the doctor's like, I have to fix things, and the only way to do that is for him to then set off a cataclysm that will result in him regenerating. And he knows that going in. But then he does that, and then Poppy comes back, but then Poppy's not his anymore. Poppy is Belinda's and was always Belinda's, sort of retconned in, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It all just felt like they were doing it to get to the regeneration and fuck Belinda, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a weird choice for me. I didn't like it. I was actually happy when Poppy was gone. I'm sorry. To be honest, I don't like kids and babies in storylines like this where like I hate when characters get pregnant. I'm so sorry if this offends anyone, but I don't like it really, and I don't use it in a lot of my own storytelling, which is fine, each to their own. But it doesn't work in a show like this, and so for my money. So when they got rid of Poppy, I was like, oh, okay. But then because Ruby kept going on and on about it, I was like, okay, she's got to mean something. She's got to mean something. But I don't know. I was hoping for something a bit better, and I was hoping for maybe an explanation to how, if Poppy exists, is this how Susan exists? Because I don't know anything about Susan really, and all of this stuff. So anyway, I don't know. The whole Poppy thing was just weird, and the only good thing that came out of it was getting to see Jodie Whittaker again, and that was my favorite scene in the entire episode. was seeing Jodie come back, her saying I should tell Yaz I love her, and the doctor being like, "Don't worry, she knows. You're never gonna tell her, but she knows you do." No, I just melted everywhere. I thought that was nice. Everything else, nah, not really. So, anyway, Fulya, what did you think of Poppy and the journey of Poppy from yes, no, what is this?
Yeah, it was a bit all over the place for me. Like the fact that they to the point where, like you, Kendall, when you said that once Poppy was like gone, when she disappears from the TARDIS, from passing back and forth the jacket, I thought, oh, okay, cool. That's it. We've reverted back to whatever it was. Because at that moment, we didn't think that it was going to be, that she was going to be around and that she was a thing in Belinda's life. But then it just kept on sort of going. And then Ruby harped on about it. And I'm still wondering what the hell's going on with Ruby as well. With the fact that she's the only one that remembers, right? And then I'm like, but why? Why is she the only one that's remembering? No one's explaining anything to us. What is happening? So,
just run with it.
Just run with it? Okay.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, man. Like, I don't know. Like, no one, like, the story is just not explaining how Ruby is able to remember things more clearly compared to the Doctor, compared to anyone else. Things happen. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Michael, that maybe it's the fact that it was from that 75 yards episode that she's gone through a whole life. And we've now sort of looped back around to her current age when we first met her. And yeah, I don't know. But then the whole thought of, like, are they going to explain the snow effect? But no, they don't explain the snow either. So I was a little, I don't know, underwhelmed, I suppose, after all of that. I was just like, oh, okay. So Poppy is actually Belinda's, so I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, yeah. So I don't know how I feel about it all. So
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I already ranted about Belinda being a mum thing, being the conclusion to her story.
yeah.
Hey,
Because a woman can only be fulfilled by becoming a mother.
yeah, apparently.
Apparently,
It's a weird choice. And while we're sort of on, just before I throw to Mike, I just remembered something I wanted to bring up, because during the scene where Ruby's trying to convince everyone that Poppy existed and that they need to save her, they're talking about all the glitches that undoing the wish, that ending Conrad's wish caused, and when they're listing everything off, you know what would have been perfect and would have redeemed this episode a little bit? If they had changed Mavity to gravity in that moment. They could have fixed
but that's
that.
a small thing. Why on earth would they change
It's not a small thing. It is a very
It's just
big
a word.
thing.
It is just a word. Why would they change that? Why would they even think to change that?
Why would they bring Ernest Borgnine back from the dead? Who knows?
He will be 120 or something.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Or whenever he died.
Anyway, that was my little brainwave that I had. I'm like, oh, they could have fixed the Mavity thing, but they didn't.
They could have done a lot of things.
They could have done a lot of things different, and they didn't. So, all right. Speaking of things, Mike, what are your thoughts? What are your takes on the Poppy of it all? Does it make sense for Poppy not to end up being the Doctor's daughter by the time the episode ends, or what do you think?
I'm glad that they actually tied it up, but not the way that I was expecting. Because I'm still thinking Susan. Reason why you introduce Susan is to, I don't know, explain some sort of thing. Because that would mean that Poppy would be Susan's mother. And it would be very interesting than seeing an 80-year-old woman saying mother to a toddler. That would be an interesting thing. And then you can see the dynamic and then, I don't know. But there's no payoff for that. I don't know why that they actually chose Poppy from Space Babies. I don't know. Synergy. I don't know. But having that sort of, having a daughter of the Doctor and Belinda, because not Chad, Conrad. Conrad thought, okay, ideal world is nuclear family. Everyone needs to have a nuclear family. Mel needs to have a nuclear family, and Belinda and the Doctor need a nuclear family. Doesn't really make sense because in that time, in the official timeline, Belinda has a husband or partner with Poppy, but they're not married, so he made the wish that the Doctor has a wife and a child, and they couldn't find any of it, don't have a child, so they got a space baby. There you go. But how does Conrad know about the space babies? Your guess is as good as mine. So that was the original thing. The wish was there. So in order to get rid of all the wishes, everything needs to go back to where it was. But it still doesn't make sense that it's trying to rack my brain around what's really proper. I think the proper thing that is that Poppy originally doesn't really exist. So the new timeline that the Doctor just turned the time 1 inch or 1 degree, that for this person to be alive but not yet. I'm finding it difficult to think fourth dimensionally. It's weird, confusing, and doesn't make sense. And this is a stupid thing because it doesn't really matter at the end because we're doing something else now. Unless they come back and actually explain it. That Poppy isn't necessarily the Doctor's daughter, but turns out is the Doctor's daughter by proxy.
I guess.
So you can probably still do the Susan timeline throughout, but go back to introduce. Yeah, nothing really is explained, but I'm still betting that the original intent wasn't Shooty departing. It was just going to be up until before Poppy's disappearance, and maybe something was originally going to be that the Poppy Belinda thing was going to be, it was Belinda's kid all along, but doesn't do the disappearing thing. It was because I'm trying to reach at the same time that the original start of the series is that Belinda was taken, and because Mrs. Flood's there, that they were doing the experiments at the same time, and then they had to make sure there's no loose tie-ins for Belinda to do that because she was outside of the world before going in. So therefore the wish of them is Belinda wasn't there, but the baby was still there. So what are we going to do with this baby? So the baby is the fixing point. It's like, okay, what are we going to do with the Doctor and that? Okay, they become a couple, and the husband, partner, is not cast, so whatever. Needs to be a couple of years before we find out what really happened. Otherwise, maybe there was 2 alternative endings for this TV show, for this episode, and we don't know.
Possible.
I'm confused and tired.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Billy Piper.
Yeah, let's talk about the ending and wrap this up. Yeah, so as I've already expressed at the top of this discussion, I'm very sad at and I didn't know it was on the cards potentially that Shooty was going to be leaving. So when they were talking about, you know, him having to regenerate, and they were teasing, like, his hand started to glow, and he's like shaking it off. I'm like, okay, good, he shook it off, it's fine. I say, deluding myself. And yeah, and then it happens, and like, it was a beautiful visual. That is the one thing I will say for the scene, with him staring off into the distance, and joy, like, he sees joy in the distance. I'm like, that's kind of nice. Bringing that back, and then
And
he's,
then you remember the episode.
yeah.
It's okay to have a murder-suicide at Christmas.
Oh boy, I'd forgotten. Anyway, it was nice. It was just a nice moment of the Doctor, like, he's hanging out he's in space, and it's beautiful, and he's hanging out the door of the TARDIS, and you know, and it was nice. But then I was like, oh my god, really? Are they doing this? And I was just, yeah. And then when the episode by the episode ending, I was, yeah, I know. I'm like, who the fuck is it? They haven't announced anything. They haven't said anything. What are we doing? And I was just really sad that he's gone, because I just, it's not that I don't feel like we haven't gotten to know him yet, but I feel like he still had some of his best stuff ahead of him, to be honest, because the two seasons and specials that we got, there was some great stuff in there, but there was also some very average stuff in there, in my opinion, in terms of the writing. But I'm just glad, at least, to say that season 2, I think, in a lot of ways, improved on season 1. There were some very good episodes here, and it was good to see Shooty getting a chance to, do some really great television with Doctor Who. And now he's gone, and I feel like he's been robbed in a way. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel. So I'm looking forward to maybe learning about how and why he decided to leave. I mean, I know he's picking up more work now in Hollywood. He's getting a bit, more in demand. So that could be why. It could be a scheduling thing, more opportunities for him. That's great. He's so talented. He's going to be fine. But I don't know. I just really liked his Doctor. I thought his Doctor was really good, and I'm really sad that when, at least for now, we're not going to, really see him again. I mean, never say never with this show, I suppose. But yeah, it's just a shame that the time with him is over, and the fact that this is the way it's ended, with, for some reason, the Doctor regenerating into Rose Tyler, or at very least Billy Piper. They haven't really said anything, because in the credits she's just listed as Billy Piper, so it, which is strange. So I don't know. I don't like it, really, because, like I said before, I think it undercuts this entire episode, and the story that they were trying to tell. Because for all the faffing about they did, it just felt like if this is what they were building to, they should have just got there sooner, or got here differently. I don't know. I'm just hoping that it pays off in a satisfying way. It probably won't, considering we were. I mean, I know Mike wasn't very hopeful for the finale, but Fulya and I were a bit more optimistic, I think. We were.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
Sweet summer child. I know. I'm still new to Doctor Who somehow. Why do I have hope? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It was a weird choice, and I hope the explanation is worth all of this mess, because I can't find a single person online who is okay with this choice. And I also don't like, and Mike, I think you mentioned it last week or the week before, but like the fact that they keep going back to classic stuff, back to old stuff, and they're not really inventing a lot of their own new characters. There's not a lot of original stuff kind of going on in this new Who, and whether that's a reaction to how the Flux was and to Jodie's stories, I don't know. But you know, it was great to see David Tennant be the 14th Doctor. That was something interesting and different, and David Tennant's hugely popular. I guess it makes sense, but to go back to that well and to pull from, you know, one of the most famous companions, you know, the first companion of New Who, and to bring them back somehow in some way we don't understand. I don't know. I need answers, and I'm not going to get them for a while, so it's a bit frustrating, to say the least. But yeah, pouring one out for Shooty Gatwa tonight. Yeah, thank you for your time as the Doctor. You were wonderful, and you will be missed. That is for sure. I'm done. I got nothing left. Fulya, please tell us your thoughts on the ending here and the regeneration.
Yes, so I like that he ended up sort of popping off to do his own thing. And it's weird that he ended up going back out into the galaxy, although the visual of it was absolutely gorgeous. You know, he ends up going back to Joy. Call back to the Christmas episode, I suppose.
Yeah.
And at that point, he starts regenerating. I'm like, wait, no way, they're regenerating him already. We've only had him for 2 seasons. Like, what is going on? And then yeah, just that whole process of him sort of kind of saying goodbye, I suppose. And then the moment he ends up going into the whole regeneration, visually that looks really cool with all the the visual effects and all that sort of stuff. But then the moment that Billy Piper's face popped on, first of all, my first thought was confusion. Like, I was confused. And then I'm like, okay, so they're deciding that the Doctor can now turn into a previous companion, but obviously it's not going to be Rose. It's just the Doctor with a Rose's body and face, essentially. I have a feeling because of this new regeneration, they're gonna go visit the David Tennant Doctor. And David Tennant's Doctor's gonna be very confused to see a Rose Tyler face on another Time Lord. I feel like there's gonna be an episode of that in the next season.
Careful now.
I'm just saying, like, why else would they bring her back? Why else would they bring Billy Piper back? There has to be a reason for that, right?
I'm all about self-love, you know, mentally. But, you know, metaphorically. But
no,
physically?
but it's like, it's just one of those, no, I don't mean it in that sense. It's more of it's going to confuse the David Tennant Doctor because they're going to have the memory of Rose Tyler. And now that the Rose Tyler face is on a Time Lord, it's going to be weird, right? But also, when the Billy Piper Doctor ends up looking in the mirror and sees themselves, they're also going to be confused. I'm pretty sure they're going to have their dialogue with themselves. Why this face? Why specifically this look? Like, I'm sure they're going to have that discussion with themselves.
Yeah, I agree, but I only want to add that didn't they kind of do that with David Tennant when he, like, you know, he regenerated, and the whole part of the specials was like, why have I picked this face? Why am I done this? You know, but they could. I mean, since they're rehashing, you know, stupid shit, then maybe they will do that. I mean, you're right. There's got to be a reason why
Yeah.
she's picked that. The doctor picked that face, I guess. So
Mm.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We shall find out, I suppose. But yeah, the way that it all sort of ended with with that kind of regeneration, I was just shocked. I'm like, all right, cool. So now we're running out of faces. We're going to companions now. Okay. I don't know. Doctor Who confuses me, but in a good way, I suppose. Anyway, that's how I feel.
Yeah. A little confusing. Well, thank you for your thoughts, Fulya. Appreciate it, as always. Take us out, Mike. Please bestow your Whovian logic upon this decision.
Well, considering that Shooty Gut was only been around for 18 episodes, Christopher Eccleston was only around for 13. So, there you go. And also, Colin Baker, I was just doing the quick maths while we were all talking, and Colin Baker's Doctor only appeared in 8 stories, and that's technically 31 episodes. So there has been smaller contribute things with the Doctor, and even Paul McGann was only in one telly movie, and that's it. Yeah, but a crap load of Big Finish audios. So there's still room to explore. Like Shooty Gut was like 10 year like further down the track with different stories. There's still novels and all that. So, but yeah, he contributed like really well, and I did enjoy his sort of take on the Doctor and his smile is just infectious. I think people are going to remember him for his smile and crying in every episode, but whatever. You need a niche. But with the Billy Piper of it all, I saw it and I thought, no. I was not happy. I don't like it. It's confusing. It's silly. It's like, oh, that's what Doctor Who's. No, and it also feels like it's Doctor Who's sort of closing in on itself of rehashing, and also part of the Russell T Davies first year generation. It's like, this is the only way we can do Doctor Who by doing, if we're going to do something familiar, get the same people. That's annoying. It needs to be expanded, and I understand that we still don't know if there's going to be more Disney Plus stuff. I mean, it has been said that, well, even if Disney falls through, Doctor Who is still going to be on the BBC. So, but there's still like political stuff with the BBC of what is going to happen, because Doctor Who, unfortunately, is very expensive to make, but it's sort of two things. It's very expensive to make, so they don't want to spend too much money on it. But unfortunately, Doctor Who is the biggest thing to contribute to export to other countries. Like, everyone knows what Doctor Who is. Everyone knows and wants a piece of Doctor Who in their life, and there's no other like TV show from the UK that's compared to be bigger. I mean, devil's advocate, if Disney falls out, then maybe Netflix will do something like Bridgerton or anything like that. Like, do something like that, but it's a difficult space. So maybe they're going to place their bets on there's still going to be more, and Billy Piper's going to be the Doctor. But I have seen speculation that maybe this is not going to be a Doctor generation. It's probably going to be something else, because in the credits it said 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, 16th, is that
15th.
15th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, and it has introducing Billie Piper.
Yeah.
They don't specify that she is a doctor or anything. And then I sort of think, are they going to do a Bad Wolf thing? Where Rose looked
back
into
to
the
Bad
heart
Wolf?
of the TARDIS. Yeah, Bad Wolf. Maybe.
That could
Something along
work.
those lines. And a lot of people, and I'm sort of siding that side of Doctor Who fans, going, I'm going to put a little audio clip here, and it sort of has my feelings for Doctor Who to like continue on. It's a quote from Christopher Eccleston when he was saying, "Oh, what would happen for you to come back to Doctor Who?"
For that to become a reality.
Sack Russell T Davies, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner, and I'll come back. So can you
Crap.
Whoa.
He's not mincing his words there at all.
No.
Naming and
Not
shaming.
controversial.
No.
Wow.
I think, Russell, stop being showrunner. You can be script editor all you want, or even a producer. Give someone else a go. We need new ideas, new stuff.
Yeah.
If we're going to do new Who, it needs to be new.
Yeah, because why in God's name did they call this a soft reboot of the franchise, of the series, and start it from series 1 again if all we're doing is going back to old things? Like,
Yeah.
Why can't you let it tread water on its own? You know,
Exactly.
I don't get it.
But then we'll
Doesn't
get
make
Space
sense.
Babies.
Look, at this point, I'm fucking coming around on Space Babies. All right, at least it was original.
As I
At
said,
least it was something
it's now
new.
it's now essential viewing. It's now
Yeah,
essential
okay.
viewing.
Yeah. All right. Does that feel like a fitting note to end it on? Or Mike, did you have anything else you wanted to touch on before we called it a day?
I'll be more than happy to have a second Wonder Years Doctor Who, where there was no Doctor Who for 15 years.
That's great. I love it. This was so good that I don't want any more Doctor Who for 20 years. 15 years. Please.
5. I'll give you 5.
5.
That's amazing.
Let's have a nice hiatus break.
Yes. And this is coming from a fan.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
That's why it's so hilarious. You love it. You love this show.
I do. I love this show. I have memorabilia, so I prove that I like this show. I bought all the DVDs because I knew I wouldn't be able to watch them on BritBox or even iView. Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Great.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
Time to be creative.
Indeed. Time to fix it with fanfic, as some people would say. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that. Okay. And on that note, I think that's it. That's our podcast for this week, our discussion on Doctor Who, the finale of Series 2, The Reality War. Yep. Yep, I'd be worried if I was Russell T right now. I'm looking forward to how this all gets unraveled. But until then, that's it. That's our pod. We're done. We're getting out of here. Thank you for your time. A 1, a 2, a 3. And
that was a
podcast
podcast called
Fred.
Fred.
Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky for the latest Fred content.
If you like to listen to Fred the Alien, you can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
If you'd like to watch Fred the Alien, you can head over to youtube.com/Fred the Alien Productions. And if you're watching us right now, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified of future videos. And if you're watching us live over on Twitch, make sure to give us a follow on your way out, twitch.tv/Fred the Alien Twitch.
Hell yes, I've been a Kendall Richardson.
I've been a Fulya and
And I've been the Debbie Downer himself, a Michael Lister.
And
you just experienced a podcast called Fred. Transition.
Remember to eat beef.
Remember, Freddy lives, Loki dies, the Doctor is in, I guess?
In? Maybe?
Ooh.
In? Out? Halfway out? Regenerating? Outside of a TARDIS? Pew.
Pew pew.
Sparkle, sparkle, sparkly. Hi, I'm Billy Piper. Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Oh, hello.
Remember to look after yourself and your mental health, everyone.
True that.
Yes, especially after this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, laters, gators. And
Scene.